caught smiling on camera.
Yeah, because we finally got our wedding pictures in about a week ago. So Chris and I have just been kind of going through about, I don't know, it's about 5,000
You say she makes you look good. I actually think it's the other way around because compared to her, you are so I'm not even going to go there. We got about 12 minutes for predictions.
She's incredible.
Let's get into them. We're going to stop talking about Trevor. This is not the Trevor show. This is the BVarsity Live preview show. And so, week 3 predictions. We'll start with the lone Saturday game. It is an 8-man game. Maricopa is at Trinity Christian in Monterey. The weird thing about Trevor and I this week, we're not as lockstep as we normally are, but most of the places we're different are the small kind of outlying school games. So bear with us on some of these. We disagree on some of these. I know a lot of people don't know about these teams and all that sort of stuff, but we'll go from there. You have Maricopa big in this game. I actually have Trinity Christian beating Maricopa in an 8-man score, 38-37.
Whatever.
Go move on. That's Saturday. Let's probably decide who wins.
Yeah, no offense to those guys. It's just hard to gauge because it's an 8-man game, and they're an hour and a half away.
Here's a piece of news that we didn't get to. Fraser Mountain is having to move down to 8-man football because of a lack of players, especially a lack of linemen, right?
Yeah, I talked to Mark Sandel. I mean, he only had 3 linemen really healthy the first week, and they had to cancel, and then they were battling it last week. They lost to Desert Christian. They had a game plan in place, and they were like, we can't play 11-man football anymore. The Central section said, go for it. HDL has said, sorry, good luck to you. They were able to pick up 8 more 8-man games, most of them coming against Southern Section teams. They actually play Alpa twice. But the good thing is Fraser Mountain, the players that are there, the 16 of them, get to play football this year.
Yeah, and
that's the positive to take out of this.
That's really what it's all about. And you actually have them winning their first
Darn
8-man
right.
game this week.
Darn right.
Is that an emotional pick?
Yeah, no. They scored 13 points last week
in
an 11-man game with 16 players.
Could happen.
Give it to them.
I value Christian win.
And they have more skill players than they do linemen. Let's get at it.
By the way, that is by far the most we've ever talked about an 8-man game on this show. One more 8-man game, Orcutt Academy at Mojave. We're different on all 3 8-man games this week. I have Mojave beating Orcutt. I don't know how you could doubt Mojave after last week when they beat Kate.
Orcutt looks good too.
Okay. If you've seen them, you say so. Southern section now, 11-man ball. Burroughs is 2-0. And the records are wrong at the bottom of that. That's okay. The Burroughs is 2-0 with 2 touchdowns in the final minute to win games against Palmdale and then Tehachapi. Rancho Verde is better than both of those teams. I got Rancho Verde winning 24-13.
I got 35-28.
Okay. Into the High Desert League. Rosemont, the Roadrunners are 2-0 facing Vasquez, and we both like Vasquez in this game.
Vasquez seems like a little bit better team this year.
Yeah, at this point, you're kind of playing the comparative scores game, and so Rosemont's schedule hasn't been too tough this year, but shoot, more power to them if they can get to 3-0. Moving on, another game we disagree on, Cal City and Boron.
Forget last week.
I can see either way because what happened to Cal City last week?
Heck, forget last week. They're going to win this week.
Why should I forget last week and not week 1?
Because I said so.
That's the argument we have here. Cal City was very good in week 1. They lost to a bad Little Rock team last week. Not sure if there were players. Again, we can't follow all these teams as closely as we follow the Bakersfield teams. I took Boron 27-17. You have Cal City, so we'll see. Desert is at Barstow. Desert, after going toe-to-toe with Emmanuel in week 1, got blown out last week by Oak Park. That's a higher division team. This is another higher division team, and we both have Barstow winning by about a touchdown. I have 29-22.
2014 Barstow.
Okay, the last HDL game of the week, at least in Kern County, Kern Valley at Morro Bay. Interesting series. This is the 3rd year they've played. Much bigger school in Morro Bay. Kern Valley has held its own. They've split the last 2 years with Morro Bay, and we split on here. We both have close games. I have Morro Bay winning 28-23 at home.
Bronx.
All right. Now, into the South Sequoia League. Porterville and Taft. Taft, I don't know what to say about it, man. Robert Cozine didn't play. Last week, they got blown out by Monachi, but 2 weeks ago, again, they looked really good against Golden Valley.
Yeah.
Just blew the doors off Golden Valley, 47-7. So which Wildcats team shows up? Anybody's guess. We both went with Porterville. This was the one we were in lockstep on. Yeah. I have 34-27. You have 35-28. It's interesting because I think we're both just respecting Porterville there because I don't think either one of us has any idea what to expect from Taft.
No, and that's exactly what it is because we don't know of Cozine because we can't get a word out of Taft whether or not Cozine's going to play.
And even then, even if he does, the defense is going to have to be better than it was last week. Yeah. What was up with that?
I don't know.
Could be a time possession thing. It's interesting. It's early in the year. We're still a lot of guesswork involved. Arvin is at South. One thing we do know is that South has a very good defense. Cesar Chavez, which rolled up a bunch of points last week, could not score on South the week before. And we do know Arvin lost that big lead to the Foothill Trojans, who we just talked to. So it's hard to see a pathway for Arvin to win this game.
Yeah, I've got South winning this one. I don't want to say easy, but I think it's going to be.
Yeah, you've got South by a couple of TDs. I have them by 3 touchdowns. Yeah. One of the few in-town games we disagree on comes here. The Wasco Tigers, the North Stars. Interesting game. You don't really know what to think of Wasco. They've only played that one game. They had a bye last week. North, I think you could argue, should have beaten East last week to go to 2-0. They didn't. They didn't get it done. It's a young team. They're going to have their ups and downs. I have North bouncing back their first home game and winning this game.
Cesar Prieto looks like a pretty good running back once again for Wasco.
Well, there's no doubt about that. He's pretty good. Yeah. And that'll be one to watch. That's a toss-up game for sure right there. Another toss-up game, I think, Shafter and Foothill. We just talked to Foothill. They have got it going on offensively, but so does Shafter. Both teams have shown kind of weaknesses defensively so far.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the balanced offense is a little bit better for Foothill. Wow. I mean, that's weird to say because it has been, down
It's been
for
years
them.
since we can say that, yeah.
But you know what? We just talked to these guys. There's a lot of confidence with them. They're at home. So I give it 27-26 Foothill.
And I went 30-28 Foothill. So, I mean, we both have it as a toss-up game. We both slightly lean toward Foothill at home. Moving on, East and Miramonte. East is 2-0, and boy, there's
3-0.
no reason they shouldn't be 3-0.
Yep.
No, none at all. Miramonte's been struggling to score.
Ray
East has
Marquez
been very good on
is
defense.
Electric.
Yeah. East has only allowed a couple of offensive touchdowns all year long, so I think East keeps going, and you're right, you got to love Ray Marquez. Okay, into some pretty big games now. Independence and Arroyo Grande. Arroyo Grande beat Garces last week. Independence looked better, I think, against Stockdale than they did in week 1, but going up against AG on the road is going to be a different story.
But offensively, they just can't seem to find a rhythm right now for the Falcons, and I think that's the biggest thing when you saw what Arroyo Grande can do offensively. I don't think you can counteract that if you can't score points against a team like them, it's going to be hard to win. So I've got Arroyo Grande winning big, 41-14.
I think it'll be slightly lower scoring. Independence pretty speedy on defense. They've got some playmakers over there. I just think eventually they get worn down in this game, and I take Arroyo Grande. Cesar Chavez is at home against West. Obviously, we talked about this last week. I overestimated what West could do against Porterville. They're just not ready to be competitive at this point against good teams, and Chavez is a good team.
Well, and Chavez, again, is one of those teams that's balanced. When you got a guy like Deion Perkins throwing the ball, and they always have a good run game, they're going to be fine. They're going to beat West. I have a 35-13 Chavez.
Okay, up next, we have Bakersfield Christian and Mission Oak. Some schedules had this game as tonight. It is a Friday night game, and we both like Bakersfield Christian to score points in a shootout and win the game.
I think this is going to be another one of those games where we see Jeremiah Foster just continuing to be Jeremiah Foster out there, and then Alex Wallace is another great receiver. Steven Figures, and then Wingold is a quarterback. He's done really well as a sophomore. He's a big guy with a strong arm.
What I want to see from BCHS, and you have it 42-20, I have it 41-34. We know they can score points. They did a pretty good job against CVC defensively last week. I'd like to see that again. Mission Oak has scored some points against both Dinuba and Madera. They're 1-1. Mission Oak has a good offense. This could really be a shootout. I think if BCHS is going to take that next step, they've got to show that they can stop a team like Mission Oak.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, really good game here. The only 2-0 versus 2-0 in the county this week. Kennedy and Highland, they've both beat Shafter, and then Highland also beat Arvin. Who do you like here?
I like Kennedy. I think the Thunderbirds continue rolling this. I think they continue this streak of regular season non-league games. But I think it's going to be very competitive, but I think it's going to be Kennedy's defense likely will be the first thing to shut down the passing game for Highland before anything else.
Yeah, I toyed with the idea of picking Highland here, but I think Kennedy, you look at that championship type experience,
right?
You got to give the edge that direction.
Be fun, though.
Good one on the coast here. This is our third good one on the coast in 2 weeks. Stockdale at Atascadero. Atascadero's 1-1. Stockdale 2-0. Boy, they were mistake-prone last week, but they beat Ridgeview the week before. Another team not sure what to do with. What do you think here?
I think they finally put a good first half together. Stockdale gets out, and they keep rolling. And Jalen Smith is such an athlete at wide receiver for them. And I think defensively, they're kind of battening the hatches. And I've got Stockdale winning at 31-14.
I think the health of Jacob Rulli at quarterback is going to play a part. He had some bruised ribs last week. We'll see about that. I have Atascadero winning by a point. Very evenly matched teams. I'm going to give it to the home team. Centennial at Golden Valley. We talked about this. I hate to say this. Centennial's schedule is so tough that if they don't win this game, there's a possibility of a 1-9, 0-10 type season for Centennial.
It's tough. I mean, it really is.
Really,
and when
really
you lose
tough.
a guy like Cole Beatty, who is practicing this week but still won't play until next week, and next week is Bullard, and then Clovis,
and then the SWYL. So good luck. We have Centennial winning this game. Boy, they better win this game, or else it could be a really long year in Golden Hawk land. Ridgeview and Frontier. You have this as a close game. Greg Youngblood is not playing for Frontier this week. Their starting quarterback. They were pretty darn good on offense for 6 quarters with him. Without him, I don't see them scoring enough on Ridgeview to stay with him.
No, and that's fair, but I still think that they're going to be able to throw the ball a little bit. They still got great receivers, but I don't see Ridgeview going 0-3, especially with Jamar Moya back. That guy is going to be hungry.
Yeah, I think Ridgeview explodes. I think they are seeking a win in a big way, and I think they get it big time. Garces and Tehachapi, one of the best games of the week. A great rivalry game they brought back. I'm so happy they brought it back. Garces' speed wasn't quite enough against Arroyo Grande last week. Tehachapi still doesn't have Kieron Scott. I think speed is going to hurt Tehachapi a little bit. They're not a slow team, but I'm not sure they've seen speed.
But it's
like
the history of
Garces.
this game that I'm really excited about. We'll have more of that later tonight on BigSoul.com and tomorrow's paper about the history of this game that dates back all the way down to 1947.
So we both like Garces in a relatively close game, about 10 points there. Final game, again, live on Bakersfield.com starting at 7 o'clock. Central at Liberty. Can Central give the Patriots a challenge?
Nope.
Don't see it happening. We'll see. Central's got a pretty good offense. They did it in the playoffs last year, played with them for a half, actually led the game at halftime, but I think we both ultimately like the Patriots.
Brian Nixon teams get better as the season goes on. They're 2-0. They're going to be 3-0.
We've got gift certificates to give away. Tune in 7 o'clock tomorrow night. You can read all of our predictions on Bakersfield.com. Our producer's John Farron. That's Trevor Horn. I'm Zach Ewing, and we are out, everybody.
Looking deep down the left side, Mendeville into the end zone, touchdown!